Hey everyone, I just want to share with you guys how to change the belts on the Nakamichi CD player and MB player series. This includes the CD player 1, 2, and 3, and the MB1, 2, and 3, and to a lesser extent the MB1000. The MB1000 is kind of a different machine altogether. It's got the same basic three belts, but it's also got another belt and it's got a different mechanism. But for the most part, this will cover it. So, okay, so what I had previously, that I've already replaced the belts on this, but I had previously recorded myself, tripod and everything, changing these belts, but I kept getting interrupted. Phone kept ringing, and it took me. I didn't have a belt kit, so I had to hunt down each one of these belts, and it took quite a while. And I'm not in the editing mood tonight, so I'm just going to share with you guys how to change the belts, okay, in these players. And what you'll need is some basic tools. You'll need the a 1 and 2 screwdriver. You'll need, you can use this or you can use tweezers. And I highly recommend a belt removal tool. So if you order these belts online somewhere, get you a belt removal tool. It'll make it so much easier. So, okay, without further ado, the first thing you want to do on this is, if you can, get this to cut it on and get it to eject. Now, this is already, I've already did this, but in some cases it might be, it's probably going to be sticking a little bit when you first eject it. It's probably why you're going to be changing the belts. But so what you want to do when you first try to eject them, eject and then pull on it at the same time just a little bit. And if there's some other belt that's misaligned or something like that, it's not going to come out. But chances are this belt's going to be slipping and you're going to be able to pull it out. And so pull it out and then cut off the power because you want this to be out a little bit. And once it's off, what you do, you just basically pull up on this right here. You want this off, and you can eject, push it back in, after that. But you want this off because what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to pull this off, the front face off, and you got multiple screws in the side. I may not put them all back in the side because I wouldn't, but take them all off the side, and then on the bottom there's a bunch of screws. Take them all off the side and bottom, and you're gonna have cables still connected. You don't really have to disconnect all those cables. What you can do is once you get all the screws out, now you need everything unplugged, of course. Just set this kind of over to here somewhere, with it unplugged. This will pull out and then over there. And then next, you've got 5 screws you're going to have to take off this transport. You're going to have to pull this whole transport out to do this. Okay, you got a screw right there. The screw here. You see that screw there? Now, the screws you can take out, you can kind of tell because there's going to be a raised area right around them. The other screws that are not in the raised area, don't take those off. So, take that screw out. You've got a screw over here. See that screw? Take that screw out. There's going to be a screw in the back. It's right there beside the transformer. Take that screw out. Then you're going to have a screw that's kind of hard to see. It's in between this power button and the mechanism. Take that out. And then you're going to have another one that's hard to see. You probably need to use a flashlight. It's a screw right here. Take that screw out. Okay, but once you get all the screws out, or you can do this first, disconnect every cable right here that's next to the transport. Everything coming off here, and there's one that goes up under there. Pull this one that goes up under there first so you won't forget it. Then pull every cable here, and then you can pull this whole transport out. Okay, and then you want to set this off to the side, and you'll just be working on just the transport. Okay, so the first thing you want to replace this little small belt. This little small belt is basically for the laser goes down when you're ejecting, and then once you the disc is in the home position to be played, then it pulls the disc up. And so the first belt is the one you want to replace. Okay, now to do that, there's a black metal plate in front of, it'll be right about here, you know, if you're looking at just the transport. And there's probably 4 or 5 screws. Just take every screw out, and you'll need the small screwdriver for that. Small screws. Oh, and the previous one, you'll need the large. For taking the transport out, you'll use the large screwdriver for that, the large tip. And so there's about 3 or 4 in front, and then there's one on the side. Don't forget the side one. And then you're going to have a zip tie that's going to be right about here. You might be able to just let it kind of hang and not take the zip tie out, or you know, you may want to just cut the zip tie and put another one back on. You know, when you do it. I was able to just let it hang because I've done these. Well, this is the first one I've done in years, but I mean, it just kind of comes back, you know, once you start doing it. But okay, so do that, and then you'll be able to see there's a motor right. It's going to be right about here. If I'm just pretending the transport's out. Okay, you're going to have a motor right about here, and you're not going. And it's going to have 2 screws. It's going to have one on this side and one kind of behind it. That's going to be next to the front of the transport. So, in order to access that, what you want to do is eject this, and so you may not want to completely push this all the way in when you did the previous step, but if you did, if you need to re-eject it, there's going to be a white gear right here, and it's just basically it's round, and you just want to kind of pull it. I can't remember which direction. I think it's this way, but just turn it so that it ejects basically, because you want to eject it fully out. And once you got this ejected fully out, then you can see the 2 screws, and you can access it and unscrew it. And I think you use this. I can't remember which screwdriver you use. Just use the one that fits. But unscrew those 2 screws, pull the motor out, then you can access this belt. Okay, then you put the belt on and reverse the procedure. And when you put the screws back in, put the one that's the tedious one in first, which is the one that's between the motor and the front of this mechanism. The reason you want to do that is because if you put the other one in first, and it's, all screws have a little bit of play. If you put this other one in first, then it might make it even harder to put the tedious one in right here. So put the tedious in first, then the one on the side. Okay, so you got that belt in. Okay, next, the hardest belt to replace, you can see it down there. It's let me eject it. Maybe you can see it a little better. No, you really can't. Okay, so this is the most tedious belt. See if I can focus a little better. Okay, it's right beside the transport, and what makes it tedious is there's a cable. This thing uses a cable to. It uses a cable for some of the changing of the for some of this stuff. I don't really know how to explain it, but it's got a belt which basically pulls the cable, and the belt's kind of, I think, is more like a fail-safe versus just using just a cable, because the belt will slip versus the steel cable, which wouldn't slip and it might damage a gear. So the belt turns the steel cable, which moves some of the mechanism, but the primary focus of the belt is for ejecting this belt on the side. Basically causes the CD to eject. And so if you got a sticking tray, that's going to be your primary culprit, is this here, and it's the longest belt. It's a little slenderer than this belt. And so the way you get this off, you can pull it off with this. You pull off the front, and then it's kind of tedious to get off. You just kind of work it off, and you may use the belt removal too to kind of help it over the thing. Like I say, it's right next to the cable, so that's what makes it tedious. And then to put it back on, it can be a little tricky to put it back on. So you may want to kind of pinch it like this because you're in such a narrow area. Kind of pinch it like this, so when you're putting it back on, you know, you pinch it with this thing though, so it'll make it easier to loop around there. And once you get it on there, kind of hold it with this tweezer here, and then use your belt loop, your belt tool, to kind of pull the back side of it and kind of wrap it around the front front spindle. And then so then now you got this on. Okay, and then the next one is actually the easiest belt to change. But before you get this one to change, what you want to do is there's a gear up under here that the belt's connected to. Now you might just be able to turn the belt if it's not totally shot, but if the belt's totally shot, there's a gear right here that this motor connects to the belt to. Turn that till you got this is all the way down now, but turn it till you got this all the way up. That way you can easily access the belt, and you can pretty much, the rear belt, you can practically do that with your hand. This is the rear belt. You just just loop it over the gear, then pull it back over that. Just whichever way is the easiest for you. And when you get all the belts on, you want to have this, take this all the way down. And oh yeah, and when you put this small belt on, that's very crucial. You want this you want it to slide all the way to the right. There'll be some little slots right here. That the belt, when it goes up to the left. When the motor turns the belt and causes the CD mechanism to go up, it goes up to the left. So you want it to be all the little pieces that stick out of the gear. I don't know what you call them. You want it to be all the way to the right, and you also want to lubricate this while you're in there with some lithium grease. So, all right, well, that pretty much covers it. I'll do another video covering some of the features of this, and I'm going to modify this player too. This is an MB1. It was Nakamichi's flagship player in the early 90s. Not counting their super high-end stuff like the MB1000. Those were kind of, I think the MB1000 were already discontinued by the time this one come out. This is basically a clone of the MB1, the CD player 1. Exactly everything electronically, output section, everything. It's just that the CD player 1 had quite a bit more robust chassis. It had a much heavier top piece, and this one's kind of flimsy. But I'm going to do some mods which should bring it up to equal par. It may even better than the CD player 1 once I get to the electronics part. I'm going to do two things on it. I'm going to modify the chassis for a better sound, and then I'm going to do some stuff in the output section which should improve the sound. So keep on the lookout for those videos. And well, I hope you guys had a good Christmas and New Year. And all right, well, hope y'all enjoyed. Y'all have a good one.